Hello and thank you for watching my video. My name is Rick Fickus, and I was given a project to revamp this layout that was owned by a local bank here in the Lodi, Stockton area. One of my first challenges of dealing with this layout was so many tracks going in and out of each other, and there was a lot of track that was hidden underneath the layout that was inaccessible. Anyone who is involved in model trains knows that you have to have your tracks remaining clean from debris, and this would also cause a lot of derailments by not keeping the track in good shape. So the first year I actually cleaned the track for them the best I could, and we still had a lot of derailments. I later talked to the bank president, who was agreeable to letting me tear down the layout and rebuild him a new layout that would be accessible for cleaning, and changing the track from Markland, which is usually European made, to regular HO track, which is much easier to clean and take care of, and has plenty of accessories here in the United States. With over 30 years of experience of building railroads and tearing them down, I wanted to make sure I built the bank a really nice layout that they'd be really proud of, because they display it in their main office in Stockton. So I wanted to make sure I built the buildings as realistic as possible. I chose a time period of Christmas, since they display this during Christmas time. This particular department store had over 200 lights in it, and they're of course all LEDs. A big challenge was they wanted the layout to be one piece, and they moved it by these small rollers for about 1,000 feet down a street from their storage area to their main office. And of course you can imagine the havoc it would cause rattling along the roadway. But I built it the best I could, and it appeared for the first couple years that there was absolutely no damage moving it. Of course, before I put in the scenery, the mountains, and everything else I did, of course I had to run the trains. And I did this for approximately 4 or 5 days non-stop. Made sure the trains ran on the track, no derailment problems. It ran smooth, and there was no glitches or the train clipping the other train. Had to make it a double track all the way around. I was originally going to make it one track, but I thought, it'd be kind of fun to actually have the bank display 2 trains run at the same time, never colliding with each other. I also chose DCC instead of the regular DC because it has it has a lot of positive things about it. And of course, there's some negative things too. If you have a short somewhere, the whole train shorts instead of just one area. But I've always done DCC, and I love it. You can see here I started to mold the mountains. I use this plaster cloth, which is like what you use when you break an arm or a leg. It's pretty cheap. You can buy them in rolls on eBay, and soak it in water and then soak it there. Of course, the tape is covering the track. The foundation, as you can see there, was actually cardboard. Then I'd follow up behind with the cardboard and lay these strips of this cloth-like material, and it'd harden, and then I'd go ahead and mold my own rocks. Those are actually plaster Paris rocks that I have molds for. And they may not look too realistic, but when I did a little bit more painting, a little bit touching up, and then you put some greenery around it, it looks pretty good. You can see here there's a lot of city shots that I've done of some of the buildings I did. All the buildings do have interior. They all have lights, and they all have people and furniture inside them. And of course, I love the moving signs as well as the emergency vehicles with real flashing lights. And here you'll see some of my mock-up plans on making a downtown, and where I was going to put some nature scenes as well as the city life. I wanted to make downtown really special. I want to make sure it was like the central place that everybody would want to look at. Lots of lights and realism. And so, as you can see, I don't think I did too bad of a job getting it looking pretty good. These next few shots, I'm not sure why I have one of my own engines pulling the bank's train cars. I don't frankly remember why I did it that way. Maybe I was testing my own engine on their layout. But if you notice, I dirtied up the cars, the box cars. I put graffiti on it, just like the real cars do, and made them look kind of filthy. You go out to the railroads and see trains go by, you'll see how dirty they are. And here's another scene of it coming out of one of the tunnels. This is the lower tunnel, approaching the waterfront area and passing through some more pines and a little ravine down below. There's my theater I enjoyed building. And that model right there, that gymnasium's probably got to be one of the coolest models I've ever built. Very unusual. I think I bought it on eBay. I haven't been able to see a model like that since. Here's my accident scene. I'm not sure if that's smoke or fire that I made out of cotton, but obviously you couldn't have real smoke going off inside a bank. Downtown scene. Here's the main street, and with all the Christmas lights and the trees, and there we go. There's the theater once again. Another shot of that. And the bank chose for me to remove the bells from the crossing signals because I don't think their employees wanted to hear bells all day. My favorite palm trees. And going through here. This here is probably one of the most detailed buildings there is. Inside there was hundreds of bottles that I actually hand painted with a toothpick. They were so small. Here's a couple other signs. A pizzeria that I made up. City bus, which is really cool. And there's your department store. I made downstairs with blue lights because I wanted to create kind of a different atmosphere of maybe mannequins in the window. Here's my wannabe flyby. Flying over from the mountains down to the city. Getting a good shot of that accident scene again. Incidentally, each one of those emergency vehicles had a minimum of 14 up to 30 little LED lights in them. Here's the little lake that I salvaged from the old layout. Some of these buildings are from the old layout that I actually was able to take apart, clean them up, and put a little bit more detail into them. And that's just a factory. Never did like that building. And here's more of a downtown scene as we fly over up into the lake area. And kind of a cool shot. I think I used my jib on this one. And the city hall. Basically put just a straight blue background. If I had more time, I would have done something. Here's something you don't see every day, kind of flying down. Kind of a cool shot I included in this video. Showing the downtown, using my jib. And here's the waterfront. If you notice that one hotel, it's far right. Look in the windows, you'll see them change colors. Got some LED lights that did that. They'd go from one color to another. It's kind of cool. That boat is the first model boat I've ever built in my entire life, and it turned out really well. And that netting is the best I could do. That came off of a Halloween costume. I'm not sure what it was, but I used that netting for the nets of the boat. Here's a pretty nice shot here. I think you're going to see a train go by and the camera will follow along with it. Now that's their bank engine. I actually bought that for them and dirtied that up. You can now get a closer look at the detail of the box cars and the graffiti and other stuff, and just making them all look filthy. Another angle here of the engine going along. There's some cows. And here's our engine going on a lower level, making its way up to the upper level, and we got a passenger train passing overhead. Of course, I had to make that timing just right for these shots. And here's another engine coming out of the tunnel and rounding the bend. That's the passenger engine, or passenger cars. That engine has no business pulling those cars. It's more of a freight engine. As you can see, as they pass each other, I had to make sure that these cars were completely clear of hitting each other. And you can see how close the box cars came to the rocks. And I had to do some major sanding and cutting away on some of those rocks to make it work, because the cornering was just too tight. I appreciate you watching my video on my little project I had in Stockton. And if you're in the area of downtown Stockton, be sure and check out the Stockton Bank during Christmas time in December. They should have this still on display each year. Wishing everyone a happy holidays. Merry Christmas.